Hi, welcome to our API demo part 3. Starting with video because I have a cat on my lap and people on the internet seem to enjoy cats, so here you go. It's a little motivation for you. Her name is Tigress. So anyway, now that we have the project folder set up, our terminal's open, our code editor's open, we are going to start working on this project. So along with Node, you should have gotten NPM, which is the Node Package Manager. And it's what we're going to use to set up our project and be able to install it and be able to add packages to it that we're going to need. So the first thing that you're going to type in your terminal window, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger to make it easier for you to see, is the npm init. Hit enter. This, as it says, is going to walk us through creating a package.json file. If you've never seen one of these before, it is essentially a directory for your project. This is where we're going to put commands to run. This is where all of the packages and dependencies that we're going to install are going to live. And we'll take a good look at this file for now. We'll take a good look at this file in the future, but for now, I'm just going to go through and hit Y for yet. I'm just going to hit enter for most of these. We can go back and add a description later and an entry point later. All right, so now if we go back to our code editor, we see that package.json has been added. So let's open up this file. Oops, name yes. Did not mean to do that. So name is going to be API demo. Our version can stay 1.0, sure. You can change that in future versions if you continue to build this afterwards. Description doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to say an API demonstration. Now begins the fun of typing in front of other people. So the main, I'm actually going to, it won't be index.js, but server.js. And that's really just to tell people who are trying to get into your project where they should look for the boilerplate setup. And we'll get more into that. So now you see that we have this scripts thing. And right now it's just showing test, and basically if you try to type in the command npm test, you're not going to get much of anything back. Let me just demo this. Arrow clear. It's like, nope, there's nothing testing. We're going to have plenty of tests soon, so I'm going to change this right now to say Mocha. The --dash exit thing basically just tells the program, it tells Mocha to exit when it's done with the tests. You don't have to do this for most testing frameworks. Mocha has some interesting bug issues that I've run into before, and the --dash exit just creates a force exit, and I think that that's going to be useful. All right, author, feel free to type your name in. License is something that every project that you put up on GitHub, which we'll talk about, should have a license attached to it. ISC is the standard one. MIT is often used a lot, and it's the one that I tend to use. But considering that right now we don't have any license, I'm just going to blank this out. And finally, I'm going to add one other command here, which is going to be start. You know what? No, actually, I'm going to go back and do that after we set up our server. So, okay, this is our package.json. So you want to save this file. I have autosave set up on mine, so whenever I lose focus on a file, it will automatically save it for me. So I may forget to tell you to save a file before running something. Just get in the habit, if you don't have autosave set up in your settings, to just do Command S every time that you're going to leave the screen and then go to your terminal. Okay, so that's the package.json. You see the little blue dot has disappeared, which means that it's a saved file. And now we need the actual folders to start building this thing. So at the very top level, the first thing that you want to have is a source folder. This is going to be where all of our data lives. This is going to be where our routes live. All of this will make sense over time, I promise. And so I'm going to make directory src. And I'm doing this just because it's a convention. You could call this folder whatever you want, but src is what you're going to see everywhere. So now I've created the source folder. I'm also going to create one called test. All right, and so now if we go back over here, we have source and test. Inside, let's navigate cd into the source folder, and I'm going to create a file called server.js. So to do that, I say touch server.js, and that will create the file. I'm also going to create some folders in here. So make directory model. Now, why am I calling this model? So model is going to be where our database setup lives, and that means a couple of things. So we're going to have some SQL files inside of a folder in here, and then we're also going to have our database configuration file. Model view controller, MVC, is something that you see a lot. It separates out model, which is your data, view, which is your UI, where your user interacts with your page, and controller, which links the two. So model is a very common name for this folder, and that's why we're going to use it. And then I'm also going to create routes. And that should be it for this for now. Let's see, do I want to create anything else? No. Okay, so our source folder with our model and our routes. Our routes are essentially going to be the controller. Our server.js is our main file that we do all of our setup in. And the test directory we will get into in a bit. So this is getting a little long, so I'm going to finish here. And in the next video, we're going to start installing some packages that we need.